Once upon a time, in a small, isolated village, there was an old, abandoned house at the edge of the forest. No one dared to go near it, for it was said to be haunted by a vengeful spirit. Years ago, the house belonged to a family of three: a father, a mother, and their young daughter. One stormy night, a tragedy struck. The father, driven mad by unknown forces, murdered his wife and daughter before taking his own life. Since then, the house stood empty, shrouded in darkness and mystery. One evening, a group of curious teenagers decided to explore the haunted house, thinking it would be an exciting adventure. They arrived at the house as the sun was setting, the last rays of light casting eerie shadows on the decaying walls. As they stepped inside, the air grew cold, and an unsettling silence enveloped them. The floorboards creaked under their feet, and cobwebs hung like ghostly curtains. They made their way through the dusty rooms, their flashlights flickering. Suddenly, they heard a faint whisper, barely audible, calling their names. Panic set in, but they pressed on, determined to uncover the truth. They reached the attic, where they found an old, dusty mirror. One of the teenagers, a girl named Sarah, wiped away the grime and stared into it. To her horror, she saw not her reflection, but the image of a young girl, eyes wide with terror. The girl in the mirror mouthed words that Sarah could not hear, but she understood the message: "Help me." Before they could react, the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The air grew colder and the room darkened. The teenagers felt an oppressive presence surrounding them. They heard footsteps approaching, slow and deliberate. A shadowy figure emerged from the darkness, the father, his eyes filled with rage and sorrow. He reached out to them, his cold, ghostly hands brushing against their skin. They could feel his torment, his regret for the heinous act he had committed. Realizing they needed to help the trapped spirits, Sarah and her friends joined hands, praying for the release of the tormented souls. They chanted, their voices trembling but determined. The mirror began to glow, and the spirit of the young girl smiled, finally free. With a final burst of light, the spirits vanished, and the house seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The door unlocked, and the teenagers fled, vowing never to return. Years later, the house was torn down, replaced by a park where children played and laughter filled the air. The village moved on, but the memory of that haunted house lingered, a reminder of the darkness that once resided at the edge of the forest.